What did I do that made me persona non grata? I asked a question.
Yep.
I asked a question from somebody that was speaking for the Tinubu camp.
Can I ask you this? How was this trash? Bullion van was found in his home. The pictures were viral, and there's been no denial. So how are you saying that is trash? And how is it trash that we want to know how the person that will lead Nigeria made so much wealth? You know, and also the declaration of being richer than also state. So that's not trash. How did he make his money? That's all I want to know. And tell me how old he is.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's ET. So a few days ago, I hosted my friend and brother Rufai Oseni in London. We wanted to have conversations about political development and the big picture of Africa's future. You know, so we put together this little event that I want you to enjoy in a bit. We were lucky to have been joined by friends from all over the UK. And luckily, we also had Tonye Cole, who is a governorship candidate in the River State elections, the last one and even the coming one.
You have elections. The only way you can make any kind of change in Nigeria is through the political arena.
I would want you to enjoy the conversation. I am posting it in parts, because it's a 2-hour conversation. I will be too long to consume on a stretch. But do not forget what we do on this channel: fellowships, scholarships, ships, and like this episode, experiences that help you discover Africa abroad.
The greatest endorsement for you will come with the manifesto you have for the Rivers people.
Yes. Make sure you give it a thumbs up so other people can find it easily on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the other parts and every other information coming up from this channel. Without further ado, let's get to business.
I'm on my own, broken and alone. I feel the rain crashing down all around this empty town. We're searching for the lost and found, but you don't care.
Whose profile do I do first? Please permit me to do his profile, because it's only fair, you know, because we're a master any day. All right, so
we're honored to have it, man.
Yeah, I'm very.
And so a lot of people that couldn't make it, you missed a lot.
Yeah, you missed a lot.
A lot, because I was just to have a private meeting with Tonye Cole, but I didn't know he was going to be here. And he's going to be sharing so many insights based on identity.
Exactly.
Because, you know, he's been through the fire. He's done politics.
He's in the fire.
He's still in the fire.
All right, just a little bit of Mr. Tonye Cole was born 11 January 1967. So he's pretty young, 55 years. Was born in Port Harcourt, is that correct? Okay, Port Harcourt, Nigeria. There's only one Port Harcourt in the world, by the way. So Tonye Patrick Cole is a co-founder and former group executive director of Sahara Group, an energy conglomerate with operations spanning the entire energy chain in Nigeria and neighboring West African countries to East Africa and even beyond. He's happily married, and he is in the race for the governorship elections in River State, isn't it? And it's not for the first time, but is still in the race. That's why I said he's actually in the fire. So you are potentially sitting with the next and incoming governor of River State, God willing. Hopefully, when you know the people get the message of what they really need and stuff like that. So welcome, Mr. Tonye Cole. It's a privilege to have you here. Now let's move to the man of the day. A lot of times when you're watching TV, you know it doesn't make sense, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you're wishing there's one person in that room that knows and can say what makes sense.
Yeah.
And that is who Rufai Oseni represents to a lot of us. And I think it's only fair that we give him a round of applause a bit.
Thank you.
So he's in the UK with us for just a while, and I'm like, you know what? This one we have to hold you down a little bit, and let's see what we can share in terms of our experiences. Let's get the conversation started. So, Rufai, what is it that you're visiting for? I know you come a couple of times. Are you here to just drop by and leave? Are you here? What did you actually bring for us? Let's start from there.
So the truth is, I didn't bring bread, or I didn't bring anything. But the truth is, all my life has always been about conversations. And I feel we don't have enough of those conversations, and that's why I got on TV in Nigeria, because I was bored with what was going on TV. And I thank God for Arise giving me the chance to be able to air those views, because we throw the baby away with the bathwater. And when you look at our conversations, they're always skewed towards a certain class of people, politicians. That is not only what is going on in Nigeria.
Yep.
People are suffering. People also have opportunities. Their life are becoming better. But the media don't tell enough of the narrative, because the media is either in connivance with the politicians or the politicians own the media. And that's a big problem. So there's a galloping state of identity crisis. So I took my first break after a couple of years being on the rise. And I had always been doing this, having interfaces. In 2015, we had an empowerment series. What we normally do is we'll partner with universities, but we couldn't get around that because of COVID and all of that, and schools are just resuming. The last time I was here, we had a program in Cambridge. We also had another one in Sussex, about politics and governance. But I said, how about we have this to be able to interface? So it's supposed to be sort of my rest time. But there's some things that can't make me rest.
True.
Because I see a country that has so much potential.
Yet.
And I see people in suffering and squalor. And I can't rest. I mean, I can take a plane, go to Vanuatu, enjoy the sun and enjoy the holiday. But it doesn't take the problems away. And that's why I called my friend and my very good Oga, and he decided to join us here, Tonye Cole, to be also part of this conversation, because he has been through the eye of the fire.
So I'll come back to how long have you been doing this and why did you start? But let's get to Mr. Tonye. You're running for elections next year, right? You are not out of the race. You are in the race, in the middle of it. When did you decide that it's time to serve? When did you decide it's time to join the bad guys? Because we know that everybody who's either running, has run, is there, is bad. So when did you switch from good to bad?
Okay, so first, that's one of the challenges of politics, the fact that people think that everybody is bad, and as a result of that, good people stay out. So we need to correct that preconception. In everything in life, you have the good and you have the bad in everything. And so you have good people in politics just as you have bad people in politics. So, however, there's nothing like a vacuum in life, and I think my brother was talking about vacuums, that if you stay away, then other people come in. So we need to get in. Going back at least 15, 18 years, right, we knew, well, I knew, that it was something that we needed to get involved in. But like with most people, I was also of that position that you don't want to get dirty. You don't want to get your hand dirty. And so you stay out of it. 5 years ago, it became clear that I just could not continue. So at the last election in 2019, 2018 there, decided that it's time to jump into the ring. You can't make a difference from the outside, you have to go inside. So that's how I went in.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to come back to what your experience is with that, first trial. What did you find out? What are the things you thought you could have done better? But before we go there, so you have to tell us now, how long ago did you start this journey? Because a lot of people just think, that boy is just lucky. They just picked him,
No.
He probably doesn't even know what he's saying. How can he be drilling elderly people? Because he has a TV job. How long ago have you been doing this? What was your inspiration when you started?
Cumulatively, I've been doing this for close to 20 years of my life. The only job I've always done is media. That's the only thing I know, and I don't know any other thing else. Because I know deeply that God gives all of us a vision because of something. Mine is for Nigeria. And this is the only country I know. And that's why in recent days, when I get a lot of hate, when people abuse me for doing my job, I don't relent. People have often threatened my life. See all sorts. We were on a call yesterday and somebody was saying, watch your back. And for me, the only thing I do when I hear that is I ask God, I say, God, you that you sent me on this mission, please, if it's going to take my life, the life you gave me, just let me know in advance. At least give me give me a notice, and he hasn't said otherwise. He said, go ahead, do it.
Yep.
And at whatever cost it is for our country.
Yep.
Because you see, year in, year out, our country can remain the same
It can't.
if we don't challenge the status quo. I keep talking about identity. We need to have an identity that understands our differences and also understands our peculiarities.
True.
The way democracy works in the UK, it doesn't work in Nigeria that way.
No.
Here, you can shout at the Prime Minister.
Yep.
In Nigeria, if you try that same thing, there are consequences.
You're right.
But how can we understand the peculiarities of our own democracy and go one step further to using it to press for demands?
Yeah.
One incident that happened that showed all of us that our democracy is peculiar is the NSAS incident.
Yep.
A lot of people will have thought that the NSAS incident will have been a rallying point. But when you saw the after effects, then you now start to understand the cleavages in our democracy. And it's imperfect. And let's not deceive ourselves.
Yep.
And that's what the best we can do is to speak about it and look for solutions to places where there are loopholes that we can amplify and create solutions. What did I do that made me persona non grata? I asked a question.
Yep.
I asked a question from somebody that was speaking for the Tinubu camp.
Yep.
And I asked, how did this presidential candidate made his money? And God sees my heart. It was a question because what I normally do is I see the opinions of people
Yep.
before I ask questions. So I have frequently asked questions for anybody. And that's the way I ask the questions. I mean, Oga Tonye is here, he's my very good friend, his family, you know, I've known him for close to 10 years now. Anytime I get a chance to interview him, I still scrutinize him that way. So it's not a thing of
It's not personal.
I had, and for everybody that is saying, and that, I don't know if it's recording.
But we have a recording.
Okay, so and for every, and we will post it, and for everybody that is saying you are a PDP carrying member, they abuse me. Hope they see now. Tonye Cole is an APC. That I'm talking here today. Hope they see it now. Because you see, when you hear the polarity of our democracy, that the conversation is not elevated beyond this APC and PDP thing. I look and I say there's a big problem.
Yep.
And in all fairness, these so-called two political parties are parties that have their own fair share of failure.
Isn't it?
Oga Tonye is here, he can't say otherwise that the APC has not failed. And the PDP has not failed. But the question is, what makes us Nigerians?
Yep.
What is our identity? What makes us tick? What makes us better? How can we reach across?
What binds us?
What binds us? And I think those are the better conversations
That we should have.
Than all the other conversations we have. And for me, I don't care which party it is,
Yep.
be it APC or PDP. All I know is that, can you make our country better?
Yep.
And also tell us where you made your money from, so that we can know as an antecedent. And I'll tell you why. Recently, I jumped on Renu Spaces.
Yep. Last 2 weeks.
And Senator Bukola Saraki was there, Dr. Bukola Saraki. And I asked him a question on election funding. And I also asked sort of like, where did you make your money from? Because you see, the problem in this country is that when people get into politics, they are condemned to go there to lose.
That's it.
Because the cost of politics is so high.
Yes, that's true.
And it comes in, you know what comes out of your pockets.
Yeah.
So there is no how you can tell me that somebody that borrowed, you know, there's a serving governor in Nigeria today that borrowed 14 billion for his electoral campaign. They are owing banks. I know people that sold their homes in Lekki. So are you telling those people who go in there and don't want to recoup their cost? And you know why that happens? Because of the way we play our politics. It's always about this, that, and interest. So these are the conversations we must not shy away from.
Exactly.
And those are the conversations I try to amplify. And I thank Arise TV for giving me the platform.
Yep.
And in all fairness, you see, because since I've been away, a lot of people have been carrying rumor. He's left Arise. I have not left. My leadership in Arise is so passionate about free speech that I have been given ample room, and nobody says, don't ask this.
Yep. So put that on record.
So it's also an indication
of
the kind of peculiarities we have.
True that.
Let's not deceive ourselves. A lot of Nigeria's mentality of democracy is a jaundice mentality.
Jaundice
Yes,
mentality.
it's a jaundice.
Explain that.
I'll explain that. It's number one mentality of things can't work. That's why you see, no matter how much we are shouting PVC, you see people on Twitter, they say, "Well, get your PVC, now is the time for change." But look at it. What are the people who that come out to vote?
In the end.
Because a lot of people have resigned to fate. But you cannot sit down with that jaundice mentality that the country can't work and without you going out to vote.
Yeah.
Secondly, a lot of people think all politicians are corrupt. But you see, we fail to realize that it is out of the corrupt politician you still have to find the one you can vote for. And really, if you think all politicians are corrupt, on the ballot there's nothing written as corrupt politician. You still have to make a choice and vote for somebody. And no matter the elections, somebody will win in the race. Even if you, out of rebellion, say you're not voting, like they did in Egypt. 1 million people picked up ballot paper and they wrote Mohamed Salah for presidential candidate. He's not on the ballot, he couldn't have won.
The election wasn't about him.
It wasn't, but elections matter. So Nigerians should shift. Okay.
Look at the camera.
Great. So can they hear us now? Oh, bless God. So Nigerians should shift from that jaundice mentality. The elections don't matter. Because it's a life from the pit of hell. It does matter.
True that.
And thirdly, the capacity to have quality conversation.
Don't take it further. Before that, it is.
You see, Nigerians increasingly must have conversations about their country without abusing each other. Because you see, in the abuse, it's a smoke screen for what is really happening.
It's a distraction.
It's a distraction
From the issues.
So let's disagree without being disagreeable and abusing each other. But let's have the mindset that we want to build this country. And in 2023, it's another chance that we have
To right our wrongs.
And fourthly, Nigerians should also know that because I am calling Tonye Cole my brother, it's not an endorsement of Tonye Cole.
Isn't it?
It's not.
Because that's the mentality a lot of Nigerians have.
Yes.
The greatest endorsement for you will come with the manifesto you have for the Rivers people.
Yes.
And the Rivers people have a question, to interrogate your manifesto.
That's it.
You should.
So I think what you're trying to say in street language is this. Once you are with someone, so politically you are with someone, it means you have endorsed them. That's not
That's
the
the
meaning.
mindset.
That's the mindset.
So
you die with a candidate even when they put everybody in harm's way. That is not right. That's what you're trying to correct.
That's the mindset, you see.
So if a candidate does right by the people, he is our candidate.
The lack of
The moment it stops doing right by the people, then we step
the
back.
lack of political maturity is a big problem.
On the side of the people.
On the side of the people. The fact that we allow sentiment override the essence of the conversation.
And emotions.
You see, and with the case in Nigeria is you have to reiterate
things.
Oh, you need to go and vote. You need to go out there and get your PVC.
Yep.
You need to interrogate. You need to have an election debate.
Yes.
because we are not wired that way, because we are not mature that way. But it also goes back to the peculiarities of our governance and democratic process.
Right. So would you like me to hold your thought there? I want to actually engage Mr. Tonye Emdee. I want to believe the first time you tried your hands at the River State election was the last electoral cycle, 2018, 2019. Now, being a first timer who is running for governorship, there was no guarantee that you are going to snitch the tickets and that you're going to be the flag bearer for the APC in Rivers. So that is one thing to celebrate, to be very honest. It's a win because you weren't the only one who asked for that ticket. So what did you do right? It means you already have that aspect of the game. You have it grounded. And right now you remain the current flag bearer until a convention is held, I believe. Even if it's not officially documented in the party constitution, but at least you are the last flag bearer, and the onus is still on the party to respect that position, even as we look ahead of another convention. So how did you handle that process, being a first timer?
Okay. So that's a very good question, and thank you very much. And I will use it to answer some of what Rufai was putting out there. And the first aspect of anything is that you have elections. The only way you can make any kind of change in Nigeria is through the political arena. If you don't have people vying for office, then no matter what Mohammed Salah and James and all of that, you're not on the ballot.
Yeah,
it does not make sense.
You can be popular for all you can.
Doesn't make sense. So the first thing that this conversation should bring out to Nigerians is that don't wait until it is time to vote before you start identifying the kind of people that you want to elect. If you wait for that time, then you will be voting for a dog, a cat, a horse, whoever the party brings forward. It's no longer in your hands.
Yep.
So the next question is, how do you then ensure that anybody who wants to run for office has the ability to run for office? Remember that there are stakeholders. Every community has stakeholders.
Yep.
Every party has stakeholders. It is then therefore important that if you are going to run for office, the first thing is that you have to identify a party that you will belong to. You cannot run for office from outside of a party.
An independent candidature
It doesn't work.
Doesn't work for now in Nigeria. You have to stand. You have to stand somewhere.
It doesn't work. You must stand somewhere. So you must have a party that you will identify with. Fair enough. So let's assume that you identify that you're either going for APC or PDP. Now, within APC or PDP as stakeholders, it is important for you to know that stakeholders are the ones that are delegates at the primary. And it's those delegates at the primary that will bring you out, which means that there must be something that they see about you that moves forward. 2018 was peculiar. That's into the 2019 election. If you remember right, you had come from a 2015 where Nigerians were clamoring for change. Okay? They had seen that there was so much corruption, so much failure, that politics as usual was not the way to go. Which meant that they were now looking for a different type of politician. Okay? And so in certain states, you start seeing that what people were looking for is that they don't want the usual suspects. Can we bring new people out? And that was a card that worked for me. Because here was something that Rivers State had been going through a series of a type of politics that was known for violence, was known for hijack, was known for all sorts of.
In fact, the mention of the word Rivers.
It was just known for.
It shakes you.
It was just known for the totally negative thing, and so the option for us was: can you bring somebody who represents the direct opposite of this, and let us now put those two as candidates. This is one that represents everything that you've always known to be Rivers State, and this is another one that represents everything you've not known to be Rivers State. And what can we do about it? So that was one. Then the second onus was then on me to convince the stakeholders that taking a risk on me was not a problem because it's about power. Our elections in Nigeria is majority cross the line, you get everything. You fail, you get nothing. And so understand that the way the democracy works is that when you enter, anybody who is going to back you must believe that you have the ability to win. Because if you don't win, all of them
efforts
are out. And so that's why people do everything to ensure that they win. But you have to be able to convince them that it is not a risk they are taking by going for what looks different.
Yeah.
Because the apathy that most people have about politics is that my vote does not count. They write the result. They will do whatever they like. So why am I bothering? So you have 80%, 90% of Nigerians just sitting in at home and not coming out. Now, that's 80% is your target. That's your audience. How can you convince them that you are different? Yes, you may be in a party that looks like the party of old, but you as the candidate is coming with something that is totally different and putting it on the table. And what did I find out? I'm jumping to a question you haven't asked, but you asked me outside. So what did you find out? The first thing that I discovered was that most people, the populace, right, did not believe that the government cared for them at all. There was no connection between what politicians were saying, what the government was saying, and what the people believe that they will get. So the key is that you must be able to convince them that you are listening. People are not listening. So what do you get when you don't listen? When people feel that you're not listening to them, when people feel that you don't care for them, what do you think they're going to do? One, they would either stay away, or two, they'll just collect your money and just vote and move away. They don't care. So we have to bridge that gap, and we must continue bridging it. So for me, it's very simple. Stay there, continue there, because you will then encourage more people to come and say, if you are there and you can survive, then let's also come in and join. Because most people just think that there's no point. And there is a big point.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Tonye. Back to Rufai now. As a journalist, you are married to the people. You are married to the screen. And it's very difficult to be partisan, isn't it? At best, you only have your voter's card, isn't it? Because right now, even if you want to drive any change, it would impede in the message that you deliver. No, there's no soap you can use to bath. That people will believe, okay, if you're a card-carrying member of a party, they believe whatever you say. And because we have the type of people that we have, which we cannot change overnight. So, but from your own individual point of view, what do you think that we need to do now with strengthening our democracy? Because we have had a lot of coup around us, in recent times. And Nigeria is not immune. I told people, Nigeria is not immune to it. Somehow, we may think we have got a hold of our military, and they are well fed, they are well contained, but you really cannot tell. So, and we don't want to lose this democracy. But what can we do to actually make it serve the people? I'm coming back to Mr. Tonye because he's in the fire, being non-partisan on TV, on radio. What do we need to do now? What do we need to focus on?
At first, I think the people need to believe in Nigeria again.
Number one.
Too many people and too many Nigerians don't believe in Nigeria, and they have a
look at that.
And I will not be here. I will not be here to say
you don't care. You're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air like a blazing flare.